The episode begins with a group of adventurers struggling to defeat a goblin in a deep forest of land known as Grigmar. The adventurers are 6 in number who are Haruhiro, Minato, Yume, Shihoru, Ranta, and Moguzo. Since they become out of sync, they are forced to flee. Early the next morning, as they are having breakfast together, they discuss their next course of action. They realize they have no memories or recollection of where they originally came from. The only thing they remember is waking up inside a strange tower 2 weeks ago during nightfall, and they form their own group called Team Minato, which is named after their leader, Brittany, who is the commanding officer of Red Moon E Alterna Frontier Army's Reserve Force, registers Team Minato as trainee volunteer soldiers. In order for them to survive and earn money for their needs and necessities in the town of Ortana, they must sell their collected horns and claws from their hunted goblins. While the others attend their respective guilds for their training, with Ranta training to be a dark knight, Minato a priest, Moguzo a warrior, Yume a hunter, and Shihoru a mage, Haruhiro joins the Thieves Guild and is mentored by Barbara, the master of the Thieves Guild, for 1 week. On the 13th day after getting trained from their guilds and getting reunited, the team spots 4 goblins camping nearby in the forest. However, Haruhiro notes that if today does not work out, there is always tomorrow. While the rest of the team members are sleeping, Haruhiro wakes and goes outside to find Minato awake as well, and both have a drink of freshly made ale. The two share their interest in going to the local Shelley's Tavern together, describe their training experiences with their respective guild mentors, and take notice of a red crescent moon in the sky. All the while, Haruhiro remembers the fact that the moon was anything but red where he came from. The following day, the team goes in for an attack on a lone goblin in the forest near the riverside without a proper set stratagem. As Moguzo seemingly deals the death blow to the goblin, Ranta collects a black wolf's fang and a silver coin hung around the goblin's neck. Although the goblin quickly tries to escape, Ranta repeatedly stabs it to death in regret of making the goblin escape. Once the group trade in their collections for 130 copper coins, they go their separate ways for leisure until the end of the day, when they reunite at a bridge to watch the sunset together. Early in the morning, Haruhiro notices that Moguzo has a strong passion for cooking, which started before he ended up in Grigmar. The team then spends the next few days in the rain failing to hunt goblins, where they're forced to wear the same clothes every day and wash their laundry each night before nightfall. The next day, the team enters the ruins of Damuro in a building and kills a slumbering goblin, hauling in 4 silver coins as the reward. After the team explores Damuro and kills more goblins as a coordinated unit, they are able to use their earnings for better clothing, armor, weapons, and food. Before bedtime, Haruhiro notes that it is the 23rd day since they came to Grigmar. Early in the next morning, the team returns to Damuro to hunt 3 more goblins, utilizing the new skill set that they learned and acquired in their respective guild training sessions. As the adventurers stop to take a break, the leader Minato mentions the fact that they fight well as a team. Once they resume their hunt, they encounter goblins that are way too powerful for any of the adventurers to defeat. In the process of retreating, Minato takes an arrow to the back by the goblin encountered just recently and soon collapses due to the fact that he has exhausted all of his healing powers earlier before they set off for the hunt. The remainder of the group rushes to Ortana with Minato and Tao in order to see Honen, master of the Priest's Guild. The master brings the devastating news to the members of the group that Minato has passed away and cannot be brought back to life. He also suggests that Minato deserves a proper funeral ceremony via cremation. As his ashes are carried in the wind, the rest of the group weeps over the loss of their leader and good friend. Haruhiro states that the burial cost 1 silver coin, which is 50 copper coins for the cremation and 50 copper coins for the grave. The group is disheartened after Minato's death and funeral. The men, Haruhiro, Ranta, and Moguzo, go to Shelley's Tavern, where a callous and carefree man named Kikoa informs that the priest of a group is highly targeted and must therefore be protected. With Kikoa's help, Haruhiro, who is now the de facto group leader, recruits Mary as part of the team, which is now named Team Haruhiro. As they return to Damuro to fight goblins, the rest of the group comes to realize that Mary is a sullen, taciturn individual who does get along well with them. As the members return to Shelley's Tavern to come up with possible solutions, a volunteer soldier named Renji offers Haruhiro a gold coin, which is worth 100 silver coins as a gift for the loss of Minato, but Haruhiro politely declines the offer, thinking that they should get the gold coins through their hard-earned methods. The girls, Yume and Shihoru, convince the guys Haruhiro, Ranta, and Moguzo to make Mary feel more welcome at the party despite the current circumstances surrounding them. Going back to Damuro to hunt more goblins, the new team efficiently kills 3 goblins, after which Mary heals Moguzo's head injury, all the while disregarding Ranta's arm bruise and rebuffing Haruhiro from having her open up. At Shelley's Tavern, the rest of the group witnesses Mary talking to Shinohara, who is the leader of Team Orion. Later at night, Haruhiro has a vision of his deceased friend Minato telling him not to doubt his abilities as the group leader. The next day in Demuro, Haruhiro realizes that Moguzo needs to buy a new helmet to protect himself from head injuries, and Mary used her staff to protect Shikoru from an attack. Afterwards, Mary politely declines Haruhiro's request to join the rest of the group for a meal. Later at night in Shelly's tavern, the team gets a chance to meet Hayashi, a warrior who is a member of Team Orion, and the latter gets the chance to explain Mary's cold demeanor. Just as Minato did for this team, Mary healed every minor scrape and injury of all the members of Team Orion. However, as her party faced a giant kobold in the SAnime mine, her magic depleted too soon and 3 members died. Hayashi concludes by saying that he brought Mary out of the SAnime mine alive. As Hayashi stayed with Team Orion, Mary had trouble staying with the party due to her traumatic past. Having learned what ordeal Mary has gone through, Haruhiro and Shikoru believe that the group should continue working on befriending Mary, although Ranta is unsure if it is still possible. The next day during a downpour, Haruhiro and Yun fail to sneak up on a goblin after they almost blow their cover in the bushes. Soon after, Haruhiro tells Mary about Minato, who served as the group's previous healer as well as the leader. Haruhiro then explains that it is hard for his party of leftovers to survive without a priest. He and the rest of the group welcome her as their friend. The team then slays goblins day after day in Demuro, and Mary slowly starts to interact more with the others. The group also learns new skills against the goblins. At night, Haruhiro has a vision of Minato and is proud of the way that the group has improved. Haruhiro finally stops counting the number of days in Grigmar while looking into the sky at a red full moon. The adventurers resolve to not let any more comrades die before continuing the hunt for more goblins. Having improved their skills, the party decides to hunt the group of goblins who killed Minato to avenge him. In the abandoned building, Team Haruhiro has a tough battle against their clever opponents, each of them using their skills to kill the goblins. Haruhiro finds and kills the remaining goblin that previously stole his dagger and shot Mary with a bow and arrow, which brings up haunting memories about Minato. After the party succeeds, they are able to earn enough money to buy their volunteer soldier badges. Shikoru tearfully leaves a badge for the fallen Minato at his grave. As it begins to snow, Haruhiro and Mary walk together as he mentions that there are wounds that not even the strongest magic can heal, since she is grieving for the 3 members of her former party. Mary parted ways with Haruhiro after being satisfied with talking to him about it. The party takes a day off for some well-deserved rest and relaxation. Haruhiro and Moguzo have bread for breakfast as they discuss how they and the others will spend their day off. Shikoru feeds the doves at the bridge and shows appreciation to Haruhiro for working together as they watch the sunrise. Haruhiro later has tea with Mary on a balcony of a women's apartment complex. Meanwhile, Ranta goes fishing while witnessing Yun rock climbing from a distance. At night in Shelly's tavern, Kikoa informs Haruhiro that there has been an increase in the goblin population at Damuro. Haruhiro suggests to his group that they should change their hunting grounds to the SAnime mine, but they must avoid the savage kobold named Death Spots. An overwhelmed Mary excuses herself outside, and after Haruhiro catches up to her, she explains that her friends had died in that very place. Despite their misgivings and Mary's obvious emotional baggage, they are determined to try it. During a training session with Barbara, Haruhiro asks her about the streaks of light that he has often seen while fighting, which seem to show him how and where to strike. The team finally reaches the SAnime mine, where the group defeats 3 lesser kobolds and claims talismans hung from the noses of the lesser kobolds. As the party works its way deeper into the caves, they defeat 2 normal kobolds, claiming more talismans. At night in his bedroom, Haruhiro has doubts about being fit to be a leader since Ranta has been acting rashly toward the rest of the group. When Haruhiro questions Ranta for his actions in the SAnime mine, Ranta responds by mentioning how he defeated an opponent on his own. Haruhiro says that Ranta is easily misunderstood during battle, but Ranta calls out Haruhiro for his weaknesses. The next day, the party returns to the SAnime mine, where they defeat a normal kobold and an elder kobold. When Team Haruhiro reaches the farmland, Death Spots is spotted nearby. However, Ranta accidentally triggers a tripwire cowbell alarm, all the while Mary starts to hyperventilate on seeing the sight of Death Spots. Mary has a dream of reuniting with her friends Bichiki, Og, and Matsumi. As Haruhiro wakes up Mary, she leads the team away to safety, since they would be at a disadvantage in the farmland as an open field. The party stops for a rest in the ruins of a temple, where Mary had her traumatic experience in the past. The party's rest is interrupted by 3 undead, the reanimated corpses of Michiki, Og, and Matsumi, all of whose bodies were not cremated after death. The rest of the group manages to fend off the 3 undead long enough for Mary to purify them each. Haruhiro discusses with his group what they should work on as warriors. Their relief is short-lived as Death Spots suddenly appears, forcing them to flee. The adventurers are chased through the caverns and narrowly manage to escape through a well, although Ranta is cut off and left behind to face death spots by himself. Ranta manages to escape from death spots through the well and eventually reunites with the other party members in the farmland. The adventurers attempt to flee only for death spots to block their path. After fending off death spots in the farmland, they seek rest in the caves. However, death spots finds them shortly after. Haruhiro decides to use his scarf to strangle death spots into a pit, giving the others a chance to retreat. As he faces death spots, Haruhiro accepts his death but is determined to fight until that moment. Haruhiro suddenly sees the streaks of light and proceeds to fight. He defeats death spots before losing consciousness. The leader wakes up fully healed at home thanks to the others rescuing him. The others are overjoyed that Haruhiro is awake, as they now have to decide what they will do with the bounty of 30 gold coins that they have earned for killing death spots. At Shelly's tavern, Renji apologizes to Haruhiro for his actions in response to Minato's death. Haruhiro later visits Minato's grave, where the former has another vision of the latter who believes that Haruhiro has now grown as a leader. Haruhiro now embraces his new memories with his friends in Grigmar and sets off for another adventure.